What if the real treasure wasn't the fallen star you were sent to retrieve, but the woman who refused to be anyone's prize? In Matthew Vaughn's adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Stardust, Yvaine transforms what could have been another damsel-in-distress story into something far more compelling. The plot sounds straightforward enough on paper. Tristan Thorne, a lovesick young man from the village of Wall, promises to bring the beautiful Victoria, a fallen star, to win her hand in marriage. When he crosses into the magical kingdom of Stormhold, he discovers the star isn't a chunk of space rock, but a woman named Yvaine, played with sharp-edged charm by Claire Danes. She's furious about being knocked out of the sky, injured, and now chained by Tristan's enchanted rope. Meanwhile, 3 ancient witches, led by Lamia, want to carve out Yvaine's heart for eternal youth, and the remaining princes of Stormhold need her to claim the throne. The adventure that follows is part road trip, part rescue mission, and entirely unconventional in how it handles its leading lady. The first thing that sets Yvaine apart from typical fantasy heroines is her mouth. She has opinions, and she's not shy about sharing them. When Tristan explains his plan to give her to Victoria as a birthday present, Yvaine's response drips with sarcasm.
Nothing says romance like the gift of a kidnapped, injured woman.
This isn't a woman waiting to be saved or silently enduring her fate. She's actively protesting it, calling out the absurdity of her situation with the kind of wit that makes you root for her immediately. Claire Danes described enjoying Yvaine's bravery and how she melts when she falls in love, but what makes the character work is that she doesn't lose her edge when she softens. Her vulnerability and her strength coexist, which is something we don't see enough in fantasy films. Even when circumstances render her physically powerless, Yvaine retains her voice and her perspective. She's captured, chained, threatened by witches who want to literally consume her, and yet she never becomes merely a victim. The film consistently shows us her emotional landscape, her fears and desires, making her feel like the protagonist of her own story rather than an object in Tristan's. When Captain Shakespeare warns her that her emotions give her away because she's glowing brighter every day, we understand that her feelings matter beyond their utility to the plot. Her love isn't just a narrative device to transform the hero, it's her own journey of opening up after centuries of watching humanity from a distance. The romance between Tristan and Yvaine works precisely because it doesn't follow the traditional rescue fantasy playbook. Tristan doesn't swoop in as her savior. If anything, Yvaine saves herself as often as Tristan saves her, and they both grow through their shared experiences. The turning point comes when Tristan realizes he loves Yvaine, not Victoria. He doesn't make this choice because Yvaine has been groomed to please him or because she's been passively waiting. He falls for her because she challenged him, traveled alongside him, and showed him what genuine connection looks like. She chose to trust him despite her initial anger, and that choice matters. The film makes it clear that Yvaine could walk away. When she believes Tristan has abandoned her for Victoria, she heads toward the wall, even though crossing it will kill her. Her mother-in-law, to be Una, has to physically intervene. This moment demonstrates Yvaine's agency in a heartbreaking way. She would rather die than be with someone who doesn't choose her freely. The romance earns its happy ending because both characters actively choose each other with full knowledge of what that choice means. Yvaine knows that staying with Tristan means giving up her celestial nature. Tristan knows that loving Yvaine means letting go of his shallow infatuation with Victoria. Neither sacrifice is taken lightly, and that's what makes the relationship feel authentic. The fantasy elements in Stardust don't just provide spectacle. They amplify the emotional stakes in ways that ground the romance in something meaningful. Yvaine's literal glow when she's happy or in love becomes a visual manifestation of emotional honesty that's rarely depicted so plainly in romantic films. The visual effects team created this ethereal shimmer across more than 80 shots, and it serves as more than eye candy. When Yvaine glows, we see evidence of her internal state, her growing feelings, and her power. The fantasy world of Fairy reflects the risks these characters take in trusting each other. Magic has consequences here. Witches can steal your youth. Stars can die if they cross the wrong threshold. Love transforms you literally, not just metaphorically. This approach differs sharply from fantasy romances where women exist primarily as motivation for the male hero's journey. In many quest narratives, the princess waits in the tower while the prince does all the growing and changing. Yvaine is present for every step of the adventure. She rides the lightning harvesting pirate ship. She learns to waltz from Captain Shakespeare. She delivers a passionate monologue about love to a mouse that turns out to be Tristan in disguise, revealing her heart without knowing he's listening. These aren't moments that that happened to her. They're moments she creates, choices she makes, transformations she undergoes. The film's supporting characters enhance rather than diminish Yvaine's agency. Michelle Pfeiffer's Lamia is a villain who wants to consume Yvaine's youth, yes, but the dynamic between them isn't simply predator and prey. Yvaine's wit and resilience shine even in captivity. Robert De Niro's Captain Shakespeare, despite stealing scenes with his secret love of cross-dressing, serves primarily to help Yvaine understand and control her own power. He teaches her about her glow, about managing her emotions, about being herself in a world that might not accept her. The princess hunting for the ruby provide danger and comedy in equal measure, but they never reduce Yvaine to a mere trophy. She remains the center of her own narrative even when surrounded by larger-than-life personalities. Matthew Vaughn's direction emphasizes Yvaine's perspective through thoughtful cinematography and visual storytelling. The camera treats her with the same importance it gives Tristan, often centering her in the frame during crucial moments. The use of light and color throughout the film serves to highlight her celestial nature and her emotional journey. When she's frightened or defensive, her light dims. When she's falling in love, she practically radiates. These aren't just pretty effects, they're visual shorthand for her internal transformation, from a star that merely observed humanity to someone willing to join it. Stardust works because Yvaine makes it work. The romance feels earned because we watch two people learn to see each other clearly. The fantasy elements enhance rather than obscure the emotional truth at the film's core. Yvaine balances the spectacle of being a literal fallen star with the relatability of someone learning to trust again after isolation. She gets to be funny and brave and scared and powerful, often in the same scene. The film trusts that audiences will connect with a female character who has her own wants and needs beyond making the hero feel good about himself. Nearly 2 decades after its release, Stardust remains a standout example of how fantasy romance can center female agency without sacrificing adventure or spectacle. Yvaine doesn't need to be rescued in any traditional sense. She needs someone to choose her freely, and she needs to choose them back. That mutual recognition, that shared risk, is what makes the story resonate. So yes, Yvaine saves herself even when she's being saved. She claims her own story even when others try to make her a supporting character in theirs. This is Ladies First, watching women in movies. Here we empower women by reviewing and discussing films that highlight their stories, struggles, and achievements. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.